Hi, my name is Sarah Randall, and I'm sure any logical person could tell just by looking at me that I go through a lot of sunscreen. Being fair-skinned with red hair has really given me an appreciation for sunscreen and all of its benefits. Too many times have I been sitting outside enjoying the sun and the weather only to come inside a few hours later and see that I was going to be struggling to even sit down because of a bad sunburn. Now, I obviously have good reason as to why I would want to apply sunscreen religiously every day, but there are many people who don't understand the harmful effects of the sun and who don't have bad sunburn stories to look back on to decide whether or not they're going to apply sunscreen. Sunscreen is a crucial part of keeping our bodies healthy and free from damage, so even if you don't have a tragic sunburn story, you still need to understand the importance of sunscreen because it may save your life. So, what is sunscreen? The Yale Scientific informs us that sunscreen is a combination of particles when applied to the skin that bounces off ultraviolet light rays from the sun. So, when we apply the sunscreen, the particles in the sunscreen and the ingredients are going to bounce the light off our skin so it does not absorb into our skin, preventing a lot of sun damage for us. Sunscreen comes in a ton of different varieties. It comes in creams, lotions, sprays, sticks, you name it. There are so many different forms of sunscreen, and it's super easy to buy and to put on your skin. In my room alone, I found this sports sunscreen, which is broad spectrum. So there's regular SPF, and then there's broad spectrum, which also prevents against UVB rays as well as just UV rays. So I have this 50 SPF sports sunscreen, your regular 30 SPF sunscreen, another 50 SPF sunscreen, all broad spectrum. And then I have, even makeup comes with sunscreen sometimes, so I have a tinted moisturizer with SPF 15 in it. Like I said, super easy to buy and so many different forms of sunscreen. Now, one of the most immediate and most visible forms of sun damage is definitely going to be a sunburn. Like I said, I've had my fair share of sunburns before. Here is a picture of me with a sunburn last year, definitely painful. It can look worse than that, but it can also look better if you wear sunscreen and you don't get sunburned at all. The Mayo Clinic describes a sunburn as overexposure to those UV light rays. So when we're not wearing sunscreen, there is no way the rays can bounce off our skin, and we are just extremely vulnerable and exposed and absorbing all of those rays. The reason why I get so sunburnt is because I don't have a lot of melanin in my skin, which is the pigment that reacts with the sun to make your skin darker, and just the pigment in general to show your skin tone. So I'm so fair and vulnerable to the sun, I will get sunburned easier, whereas someone that's darker than me who has a darker skin tone and more melanin may not immediately get sunburnt, but that does not mean that they are not immune from skin damage. We can definitely both have the same chance of having skin damage later on in life. So that is why even if you're tan and you think you don't have to worry about getting sunburned, it's not just sunburns you're worried about, it's many other things later in life. And speaking of that, the Skin Cancer Foundation stresses the importance of wearing sunscreen daily because of diseases caused by sun damage like skin cancer, melanoma, and things like premature aging. The Skin Cancer Foundation also says that wearing sunscreen can decrease your chance of getting SCC, which is the most common form of skin cancer, by 40%, and decrease your chances of getting melanoma by 50%. Those are drastic numbers that could easily be decreased, and wearing sunscreen is such a simple way to prevent those things from happening. I don't know why everyone does not wear sunscreen, because I've never heard of anyone who wants any of those things I just mentioned. And like I just said, it can not only help from skin cancer, melanoma, and everything, but it can help from just pain in general. That picture does not look like something a person would enjoy. Your face is hot and dehydrated, your skin doesn't have the water in it, and it's literally burned, like if you burned yourself in an oven. And most people know that that is not something people like to do. So skin cancer and melanoma are same damaging, just later on. So while you not may feel those effects immediately, such as a sunburn, you can get those effects later on in your life. And like I said, premature aging just makes you look older when you're younger. And then when you're older, you will look extra old. So those are just other benefits and lack of benefits as to why you should wear sunscreen as opposed to not wearing it. Like I mentioned earlier, there are so many different forms of sunscreen. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm allergic to a certain ingredient, I can't wear sunscreen, my skin is too sensitive, Don't worry, there are so many forms of sunscreen out there. There are physical sunscreens made from actual elements, and then chemical sunscreens with chemicals and different things put together. So if you're thinking, oh, there's nothing out there for me, there definitely is. And I mentioned all the forms sunscreen can be applied as well, and the different broad spectrums and SPFs there are. There are really endless options that are suited to each individual, and like you can have unique skin and still find a sunscreen that works for you. Looking back, sunscreen is just so important for many parts of our lives. It's important now to prevent our skin from sunburns and immediate sun damage, and also it's important for down the line to prevent us from getting diseases and skin cancer that could affect our lives and possibly even end them. Overall, sunscreen is so important. Like I said, I cannot stress the importance of sunscreen enough. It is so important that the Skin Cancer Foundation suggests that you wear it every day, at least broad spectrum with SPF 15, just as a base coat, just to protect you from any UV rays that sneak through, because even when it's cloudy and overcast, you can still get sunburn and you can still get sun damage, because the UV rays don't stop just because the clouds are there. Just like the skin damage won't stop just because you don't see it immediately, you don't see the immediate effects. Sunscreen is so valuable for our lives in general, and there are so many facts and statistics that show how important it is. But if you don't trust those facts and they're not enough from you, take it from me and the millions of other people who have suffered the consequences of not wearing sunscreen. Wear sunscreen, protect your skin, and save your life. Thank you.